Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2020 career mode for the Mexican Grand Prix today. It is looking to be a good one in this round. It's always been a track I have really enjoyed. It was a tough time out last time at Circuit of the Americas, so we'll see if we can do better here in Mexico. But Q1, not a great start, down in 15th position, but we do just about scrape through with Romain Grosjean doing a good job. Getting through in 14th position. That's a good effort for that Haas car that has not been particularly competitive.
The rain is a few laps out yet, but it is coming. Be careful.
And oh dear, that is rain on the horizon. So we need to get out and get this first lap in Q2 as quickly as we can. So as we do that and come across the line, we do go fastest, but we set that lap early in the session, so not everyone has set a lap time yet. But we do go through to the end of the session, and we do get through. Again, though, down in 10th position, so not a great qualifying all in all. But we still have Q3, and we will try to improve there. But Alex Albon getting knocked out in the Red Bull, so he is really been underperforming as of late in particular. So we'll see how things go for him. But Q3, of course, it is raining now, so this is going to shake things up. I'm not sure how the pace is going to be in the rain around this circuit, but yeah, we'll see what we can do as we head through this lap into the stadium section now to end the lap. And if we can just get through cleanly and set a representative time, I think we'll be in good shape. So this is right at the beginning of the session, as early as we could go out, and as we come around the final corner. Not a lot of time set so far, so we'll see what this does. We don't even go fastest though, so the pace is not great. We do go out again at the end of the session, as we are currently down in 6th position, and we are right on the teetering edge of improving on our time, but a bit of a mistake through the final corner, and that's going to cost us that little bit of time, and we're not quite going to improve on our initial flyer, and it is only going to be P6 for us in qualifying here in Mexico. I was honestly hoping for a little bit more than that, but oh well, it is what it is.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Hamilton, Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
But yeah, even if we improved our time, I don't think we would have moved up the grid very much. So yeah, that is just the way it is this time, unfortunately. But Danny Kvyat, a couple of tenths behind us, and down in 10th, so we were reasonably lucky to qualify where we did, so I'll take it. And there might be some grid penalties as we head into the race anyway, so we'll see how things go. But yeah, let's just get into it and get it going for the Mexican Grand Prix. The title fight between Hamilton and Bottas, and even Verstappen, really heating up with Bottas down the order in this one. It's going to be tough for him, but we'll see how things go. Let's get into it.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? 17 corners then at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 10 to the right and 7 to the left, and all of them will have to be tackled in difficult, wet conditions here today. No DRS assistance either, at least not for the start of the race, but the best overtaking opportunities will still be down into turn 1 or shortly afterwards into turn 4. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. There's a real chance they could win the title today. So how do you think they'll handle the pressure?
I think as long as they keep their mind on the task and not its historical significance, they'll be just fine. This is a race just like any other. You do the best you can and accept that sometimes things are going to happen outside of your control. If they can approach today with that attitude, the pressure shouldn't be a problem.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, the scientist, Carlos Sainz, and Ricciardo, Kvyat, Bottas, Albon, and Lewis Hamilton. They've taken a grid penalty. Norris, Stroll, Romain Grosjean, and Magnussen, Giovinazzi, Ocon, Kimi Raikkonen, and George Russell, Latifi, and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are on the grid then for the Mexican Grand Prix. Grid penalties for our two main title contenders, Hamilton and Bottas. Bottas has had some shocking reliability this season, so it's no surprise that he's got a few, but Hamilton has got a few as well. So he hasn't been too unreliable, but still taking the penalties, it seems. But anyway, as we have a look, everyone's starting on the intermediate side. I don't see another stop onto more intermediates in this race. I think by the half an hour to 45 minutes, it'll dry up. So as we go to the 5 red lights. And away we go for the Mexican Grand Prix with Sergio Perez starting on the front row in this one. And there's a wall of mist in front of us. Perez has got a decent start. We've got the best start of all though. We're going to go to the inside and we're going to pass everyone along the run towards the first corner. We've taken the lead. We can go back to the racing line, cover them off. And we have taken the lead on the run into the first corner from the second row on the grid. This has been a fantastic start for us. And now we just need to focus on trying to get away from the field. But that was an absolutely perfect start. We could not have done that any better if we tried. As we have a look back, and Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen fighting side by side through the first 3 corners. We'll see how this plays out. Perez squirts the throttle between the corners to try and get ahead, but Verstappen does not back out, and he will retake that position as Verstappen has already closed up onto the back of us, but will build up the pace over the next few laps and see if we can stretch away from Verstappen in these conditions. That Red Bull is very, very quick. And at the end of the day, he is in the title fight, so we don't want to be causing him too many issues as he is in the big boy Red Bull team. So we'll just see if we have the pace. We'll try our best to pull away, but yeah, we'll see how things go throughout this race. But through this first lap, it seems to be going okay. We are managing to hold station in the lead, and with a lot of understeer there through the final corner, and oversteer and every kind of problem you can have in a racing car, but we are just about managing to hold on to it. And look at the straight line speed that we have. That's incredible. That is going to be a huge strength for us in this race. But Lance Stroll retires from the race. His day ends before it really begins, unfortunately, for the Canadian, and he is actually doesn't even have enough power to get off the racing circuit there. So somehow that has not caused a safety car with him parked on the racing track there. So I'm not sure what the deal is there, but maybe they think he has a chance of refiring that car and moving again, but he apparently doesn't exist. So everything is completely fine. We don't need a safety car because well, Lance Stroll is a ghost. But anyway, as we continue on, you can see we are struggling in these conditions. Have to take a bit of a cut there, as I was a bit worried about where Verstappen was. As it turns out, he was actually nowhere near us. But meanwhile, this is Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. There we're stuck in traffic. Bottas is stuck behind Alex Albon, and Hamilton is stuck behind an Alfa Romeo. I believe that is Antonio Giovinazzi, and they're not able to make any overtakes. But there's another demonstration of our straight line speed, pulling away from Verstappen, even though he had a run on us on the run to turn 1. We have amazing straight line speed in this car. It is quite incredible. So that's really helping us maintain this lead at the moment. Otherwise, I think Verstappen would be off and blazing into the distance at this point in the race. But yeah, we're just doing enough to hold on.
Conditions look stable at the moment. No rain currently expected. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now.
And you'll notice we've moved all the way on to lap 20 in this race, because it's honestly been a relatively boring one for us out in front. And you can see the rain has stopped. The track is visibly drier, but still not quite time until we move on.
Have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online.
Until lap 23 we finally come in. So yeah, 23 laps on these intermediate tyres, and we can finally get rid of them and box for some dry compound tyres, as we get a bit held up there, and that's let Verstappen past us. That slight moment we're held up in the pits there by the next car going in ahead of us. I think it was Perez.
Once now, one stop left.
Has held us up, and Verstappen has taken the lead of this race, and that is a bit of a disaster for us. We were holding him off, but I don't know if we have the pace to go with him. So we'll try our best to stay within DRS range now that it's been reactivated, but I'm not sure if we really have the pace of Verstappen. But it's good, of course, for his championship. So
That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up.
but anyway, as we continue on, we do get a fastest lap there, as you just heard. So
Teammate behind is 11.7 seconds.
distance back to Kvyat. But yeah, we did get a fastest lap there, so we do have some pace, but it's whether we have the consistency to really stick with Verstappen throughout this entire stint, and indeed until the end of the race. But we're sticking within DRS range for now, and that's really the best we can do for the time being. And as we continue on, look at the straight line speed here. We actually might go for a move here down the inside, but we back out of it, not really wanting to take too many risks there. And we're just going to follow through the first 3 corners and see if we can get a better run. Now that we are much closer behind along the run towards turn 4, we're going to be able to go for the move here. As we have a look, we're a bit behind the trees, can't see, but we do go to the outside of Max Verstappen, and we will make the move round the outside, very close on the front wing there for Verstappen. But we do make that move nicely and cleanly and get up into the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. Great stuff there to get ahead of Verstappen, using that straight line speed advantage that we so clearly have. But moving on then to the title fight contenders, this is looking at Valtteri Bottas still chasing down Alexander Albon. Hamilton has managed to jump the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi during the pit stops. So that is good news for Hamilton, and he can try and chase down Valtteri Bottas, who is right in front of him. But meanwhile, Albon is still managing to stay ahead of Bottas, so Bottas needs to get a move on here if he wants to gain some points back in the title fight, and getting a move on he is, as Albon defends. Bottas goes to the outside as they head towards the first corner, and Bottas is actually going to get the move done before the corner, so nice work there from the Finn to get that move done. Moving on then, this is on board the front wing of Lewis Hamilton. Laps later, Hamilton goes down the inside into the first corner. Great aggressive dive there, and a bit of contact is made as Albon tried to get a switch back, but misjudged things a little bit and tagged the left rear corner of Hamilton's car. But no harm done, maybe a slight bit of damage, but that's I don't think will affect him in any major way. But meanwhile for us, we have caught up to one of the lap cars already in this race quite early on. It is the Williams of Nicholas Latifi, and he clearly has had some major issue in this race, because he is a long way behind anyone else in this race. But back on to the title contenders. Bottas goes for the move around the outside of Carlos Sainz, and they're still side by side as they head through turn 2. Sainz not giving up, gives it a bit of juice into turn 3, almost making some contact there with Bottas as they continue to run side by side. On board with Sainz now, you can see the DRS advantage for Bottas, and Hamilton sneaking through as well. Good opportunism there from Hamilton to be able to get ahead of Sainz as well and stay right on the back of his title rival. Here's the onboard with Hamilton, and Sainz was just a sitting duck with no DRS assistance, and there's no way he could have held off the speed that Hamilton was carrying there. And Hamilton is now right behind Valtteri Bottas. But continuing on for us, putting a lap on one of the Hasses, and immediately bowling a bit of a wide there, but it's all good, no harm done. And we just had a bit of lapse of concentration. Speaking of which, another mistake there, and this could start getting costly, as now Verstappen is starting to come back into it a bit in this stint, and he is closing up as we get further into this one. But continuing on with the title fight, this is Hamilton clearing Valtteri Bottas, and that has put him ahead of his championship rival. So that's a big turning point in this race for those two, and Hamilton now leads the charge for Mercedes in this Mexican Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Verstappen round the outside, and he's going to get through as we have to just give up the place there. I wasn't confident that he was going to leave the space on the inside line, but this is Bottas into the pits, making an undercut on Lewis Hamilton, and Bottas in for his final stop of the race. And we'll see if this play works out for him, as he gets a new set of tyres on the car, and they will serve him until the end of the race. Meanwhile for us though, it's time for our final stop, and in we come to the pits, and this will be interesting to see how things work out for us in this one. I'm not really too confident about the pace anymore. It's just it's been a bit shaky recently. Verstappen was in for an undercut a while ago,
See these tires through to the end now.
and you can see the advantage that he had. So it's going to be tough to see if we can catch up to him. But on the softs, we'll see what we can do. But here comes Danny Kvyat making a move on Charles Leclerc, and he gets that done. I think Charles Leclerc must have jumped Kvyat with the undercut because he was behind. But here is on board with Bottas, and he has jumped Lewis Hamilton. That's Ricciardo and Hamilton back there. So Bottas making the undercut work. But meanwhile, up ahead, this is Danny Kvyat making a move on the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel, and getting the move done nicely. But Vettel tries to come back, but Kvyat is through and has made that position. So good job there by Danny Kvyat, and he is up and into another position. But that is Lando Norris out of the race with a mechanical failure. Not a good day for him, and he will not finish the Mexican Grand Prix, unfortunately. So yeah, bad day for Lando, but back on board with us, and not a terrible amount happening. A bit of a mistake there through the second and third corner, but it's not been a great run. And that's Perez now to the outside at his home race. Sergio Perez trying to impress his own fans with potentially a P2, but we're going to try and hold him off on the inside line. We're going to have the outside here, but we should be able to get a good exit, and we'll have the outside line here again, but running a bit wide. But we will just about hold off Sergio Perez and maintain this second position that we have at the moment. But Perez is not done by any stretch of the imagination as we continue on through this race, running deep again into this section, and as we actually cut the corner there, but it's holding up a big train of cars now. So we clearly just don't have the pace in this race at the moment as we run wide there, and that's allowed Perez to get up onto the outside line, and he's going to make the move around the outside there, just like Verstappen did. I honestly did sort of let him go quite easily there. But here comes Danny Kvyat now as we make a big mistake there, and here comes Kvyat. He's going to make the move easily, and now Sebastian Vettel having a look as well as Kvyat is round our outside. We can't really go through into the stadium section quite taking a line I would have wanted to, with Kvyat kind of blocking my ideal line there. But what is going on? The game seems to be having a few issues there with some helicopter sounds. But anyway, as we continue on then, we are going to try and fight back against Kvyat. We have a little look up the inside, making some very light contact there with the left rear wheel of his car, and hopefully that hasn't caused any damage. I don't think so. The contact was extremely light, so I think we'll just about get away with that. But Kvyat seems to have some decent pace, so I'm thinking we might just leave him alone and see what he can do throughout the rest of this race, see if he can overtake Sergio Perez. But Kevin Magnussen retires from the race with a mechanical failure, so that bad end to his day in one of his last races for Haas. But this is going to bring out the safety car in this one. So as things stand, Verstappen leads with a back marker in between him and the second place car of Sergio Perez. Then it's Kvyat and myself on the restart. We'll see if we can get Danny Kvyat as we have a look to the inside. We're going to get some DRS from the Alfa Romeo there, so this might work out well for us as we do have a good slipstream. But Kvyat equally is going for a move on Perez, but gets blocked off, and so do we. And in the end, we go for a send around the outside, but we're not going to be able to pull it up, and we will just have to back out there and make sure we don't make any contact with our teammate. And yeah, that didn't end up no positions ended up changing there in the top four, and we've just stayed exactly how we are. So it is still Max Verstappen from Sergio Perez, Kvyat, and then myself. But we'll see what we can do. The game really struggling through that final corner, and yeah, I don't know what's going on there. The sound is being very strange, but anyway, we'll ignore that and hope the game doesn't crash or do anything weird. But the helicopter is strangely loud. It's somewhere on the right, but yeah, I don't know exactly what the deal is there, exactly what's happening. But anyway, we're moving on quite quickly through this race, though, onto the last few laps of the race now, and onto the penultimate lap of the race, and not a lot has really happened, but things are about to heat up with Valtteri Bottas going for a move on Sebastian Vettel, and he might be able to get it done around the outside. Vettel though still fighting through turn 2, and he's going to have the ideal line here, squirts the throttle to try and get the nose ahead, as they so often do there, but it has not worked out for him, as Bottas is still around the outside, gets the move done on the run in. Lock up though for Bottas, and Vettel is still on the outside, still has the nose in as they head through the chicane, and Bottas hasn't been able to get the move done. Vettel maintains the position on the inside line. They're still side by side as they head towards the S's. They have to sort it out here. Surely Bottas will have the inside line, but Vettel is still not giving up as they run side by side. Hard to tell who got out ahead there, and it looks like Sebastian Vettel has. Great driving from the Ferrari man to maintain that position, but Bottas will have the DRS here, goes to the inside as they head towards the stadium section. This battle has been going on since the first corner, side by side for an entire lap, and yet they still keep going through the tightest part of the circuit, still running side by side, and Bottas is not giving up, but neither is Sebastian Vettel. And side by side through the final corner, that is officially an entire lap of running side by side, and they still go along the front straight. Daniel Ricciardo is getting involved now. He's got a good slipstream. He's got the DRS, as Sebastian Vettel's going to be a sitting duck here. Hamilton getting involved as well, but Ricciardo is ahead of both of them now. He's made a double overtake along the main straight. Lewis Hamilton gets past Sebastian Vettel as well, so Bottas loses a position while trying to gain one, and Hamilton equally has gained a free position there through all that fighting. Meanwhile, while that was happening, this is onto the final lap now. Danny Kvyat trying to make a move on Sergio Perez, but this time Kvyat gets a good traction on the outside line there, and he will get ahead of Sergio Perez with the DRS assistance and the straight line speed of our car, and Kvyat is up and into second position, and we still hold down fourth. So if we can get past Sergio Perez, we may be on for a double podium for the team. That would be fantastic. But we'll see. There's not long left, and we've lost our main overtaking opportunity. So into the stadium section, it's just not enough. We couldn't get close enough to Sergio Perez, so it's only going to be fourth position for us. But great drive from Danny Kvyat, great battling in the last couple of laps with Bottas, Ricciardo, and Sebastian Vettel. And with the final time through the final corner, we cross the line for P4.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
What an end to the race that was. Unbelievable. Driver of the day, Charles Leclerc. He started down the order, so fair play to him.
It's a performance to be proud of from our Mexico City Grand Prix winners. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So the circuit where Honda won their first Formula 1 race, they power the top two to the podium. Max Verstappen taking the win, Danny Kvyat finishing up in second position, with Sergio Perez third at his home event.
Let's see how the driver standings have changed. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
It's another clear win for Mercedes as they managed to secure the Constructors' title. An incredible performance for the whole team. Well, Ants, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Alright, there we have it. What a finish to that race that we just had. Bottas and Vettel going all out on the penultimate lap to settle it, and it ended in favour of Bottas, with Vettel ending up the big loser out of that, losing 3 positions along that straight alone. Feel a bit sorry for him, honestly. That really he didn't get the result that he potentially deserved, but that battle pack that was forming behind Bottas and Vettel as they were racing side by side, that went all the way down to 10th position. That was the entire points paying positions, well, I guess it's excluding us in the top 4, but even myself, Perez, and Fiat had our own battle going. It was really just Verstappen out in front, and the rest of the points positions could have changed at any moment on that final or during those final 2 laps. So yeah, really great racing towards the end of that one. But yeah, unfortunately for us, we just couldn't quite get that elusive double podium for the team. Still a few chances left, but yeah, we've got a couple of wins in this season, and Fiat now is becoming a lot more consistent, a lot faster. So this result will do his confidence a world of good, and he'll be on form in the final 2 rounds of the season in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. So maybe we can bring home some good results there. But yeah, we made a few mistakes in this one. It cost us the position, well, firstly to Verstappen and then to Perez, and then after that we just, yeah, we had pace in this one. Just, yeah, there's a couple of mistakes cost us. We had a big opportunity here, but zigged when we should have zagged, and it yeah, we just weren't able to take advantage of that, honestly. When we could have had a run on Fiat and Perez there heading towards the first corner, but didn't work out for us. But oh well, here's how it is.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yeah, it was a really good result for us this time out, and yeah, really quite happy to bring that one home. So yeah.
The weather was miserable today, but do you feel this was an advantage for you?
I think it potentially was. We were able to hold on to some good track position at the start.
How do you feel seeing your teammate up on the podium?
I'm very happy for him, honestly. Yeah, it's been a couple of tough races for the team, but yeah, it's great to see him get a podium, score a lot of points both for himself and for the team in the Constructors' Championships. I wish, of course, that I could have joined him up there, but I just never had the opportunity to overtake Perez at the end. Another lap or 2 maybe, but wasn't to be.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Thank you, Claire. Alright, so there we have it. That brings the Mexican Grand Prix weekend to a close. Level 10 on the driver acclaim, not going to mean too much though, as we are not going to be continuing this series until the next game comes out, at which point everything's going to get reset anyway. Hopefully one day that will be a feature that you can sort of carry over your sort of stats from the first season of the previous game, and the car kind of car pace and upgrades. That'll be quite cool to sort of carry that over between games and sort of build up a story of your own. But anyway, we'll see if that happens one day. But anyway, other than that though, there is not a lot left to cover. We were just confirming a few of our parts for next season. Not that, as I just said, we're not going to do another season in this driver career series, but I'm still going to put in the work to adapt all the parts, just to make it fair with the other teams, because they would have all stopped developing, so it'd be a little bit kind of cheaty if we didn't do the same. So yeah, we're going to keep working on that, but I think we will be able to save all the parts with some resource points to spare. So we'll see what happens at Brazil, but we may have enough resource points to go for one last upgrade this season for the final round, but we'll see if there's even time for that. But anyway, looking forward to Brazil. It's always a fun one. Crazy stuff can happen at that circuit, so yeah, looking forward to that. But other than that, there is not a lot left to cover, so I will say thank you so much for watching to the end. Let me know what you thought, and other than that, I will see you next time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Thank you and goodbye.